I love that line, no stress, no battles. Can we talk through an example, if you have one, top
Mm-hmm.
of mind of like when a mom might be high stress? I can think of a million off the top of my head, but where sometimes I need to take a minute and think about how I want to parent. I don't know, my kids are always fighting over toys. They're
Yep.
playing nicely, but there's also moments where they're not being kind. They're not using, especially my young one, using
Yeah.
words the way I want him to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an example you
Yeah.
could walk a mom through?
That's what I'm thinking of is definitely something that like is a mantra of mine, and that is like connection first. Because I feel like when I go back to that, no matter what the topic like of the day is that they're fighting about or we're annoyed with, I feel like when kids feel seen and heard, um there's going to be less battles. So there's always a reason, like if my older kid is it's hitting his brother, there's always a reason for that within him, right? So
Yeah.
try and really, because the more like open communication, the more respect, like the more we show our kids respect by actually listening to them and taking that time, even though we're like in the middle of dinner, or we just got home or everyone's tired. But I think everyone wins if you can just take that time for connection first. So many of the battles could be like can be avoided by you just like by the kid just feeling like seen or heard. Maybe something will come up, maybe they'll tell you about something that happened to them in school, and that's probably the reason why they're behaving in a certain way at home. So if you can
Right.
focus on the connection first, and make them feel seen and heard, I feel like there's going to be less battles regardless of what the subject of the day is.
That does always help. And I think taking the time to understand where they're coming from, which sometimes is so hard. Half the time it's like, my son is hangry.
Yes, yes,
And
exactly, yes.
he needs to take a moment and feed himself and regroup and come back when he's ready. The other one that's a really big one that I'm sure parents on the line might be able to relate to is screen time. There's
Yes.
always a little bit of a battle around, especially with the dangers of screen time
Yeah.
for young kids, and the fact that we're kind of finding out that it wasn't super regulated for them. I think maybe some measures are being put in place now, but I'm always trying to protect my kids from like seeing the wrong thing on YouTube that they can't unsee.
Mhm.
So tell parents how to eliminate the screen time battle, because I loved your perspective on this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so passionate about this. I have so much to say about this because I feel managing screen time has like without the guilt, stress, and the constant fighting has been huge for us. And that was a decision that I made. My oldest is 17 and my youngest is 3. So I have like
Yeah.
a wide span of ages. And this has been something that I've seen in my home, in my first-hand experience, has worked for us. And I know I can't say it's going to work for everyone, but I would definitely encourage you to trust and try it before just dismissing it, because kids are so much smarter than we give them credit. And I think if you let them, you'll see they'll prove you like they'll show you that they can step up and do this, if you just give them the opportunity, and it's going to create so much more balance and harmony. But so the first thing for me, I would say, is like no fear or guilt around it. So we've stopped labeling screens as bad. It's
Mhm.
you need to trust that the kids can have a healthy relationship with their devices. They're born into a digital world. I think we need to work with it rather than against it.
Right.
And again, like what you brought up before, like energy over rules. We always focus on how do they feel when they're on their device or after. Like tune
Right.
in, see if they seem agitated or fighting. Maybe that's a little bit too much. If there's happy and doing well after, then tune in and just really observe them, and also have them observe themselves, because when you teach them to trust their inner guidance,
Mhm.
that's going to let them tune in and like build so much self-awareness as well.
Alicia again with a moment of mom shine. I needed it this week, and I was just looking at some stats that really inspired me when I've had one of the most stressful work weeks. But no surprise, women-led companies generate 10% more revenue than men's in the first 5 years. I just needed to see that, especially with my latest episode on AI giving us shortcuts, because I am feeling the weight of doing all the things this week. Several clients, several kids, places to be, sporting events. It just never stops. So it inspires me that women crush it so hard from a revenues based perspective. Also, as of 2024, 74% of moms with kids under 18 were in the workforce. That's a lot of moms. So we're not alone. We're not on an island. I've interviewed a lot of business entrepreneurs that have kept me going, kept my engine running. It's normal that it's not easy. The co-founder of Serena and Lily Cantor, came on, and I just loved her quote on our episode. I still think about it often. Kids are watching us and modeling after us more than they are listening. Kids are watching what we do. So if you want to show them how to approach screen time or social media or just about anything in life that's unregulated, and then these new epidemics that we're dealing with, we got to model it. We have to show them what happy life looks like. I haven't been the model of that as of late because I've been so stressed with work, but I always try to remind myself and that there's boundaries to my work and that we have lives outside of work. I envision a future where things are more integrated. I think AI is making that possible. I've said that. But yeah, women-led businesses generate a lot to the economy, $1.9 trillion to be exact. And I'm excited to see the momentum keep going. I'm excited to cover it and interview really awesome people. My interviews coming up are with other amazing moms crushing it in sports, crushing it in all aspects of life. Swedish parenting, I know that's been a big one for moms, wanting to see more on that. So I can't wait to continue the conversation and hear from you and see what you think. Keep watching along. That's just a moment with me.
Regardless of the background, the level of success, the level of help that they may have had in terms of money or support or nannies or whomever, everybody struggled. Everybody had things they went through that tore them to pieces, just like just about every single mom on the planet has felt at some point. And I think that was the part that as we were going through it, we realized this is the point of connection, this rawness, this vulnerability. This is where people are going to be able to see themselves. So we were very careful and cognizant of the fact that, and I had some friends that I talked to and they'd say, oh, well, you're talking to Alex Morgan. Well, I mean, sure, she's going to be fine. Look, she went back to playing and she's got all the support. Okay, I get it. I hear you. Like, these are professional athletes that you look at and they maybe make it look easy. However, realizing that it is not in any way easy and that they still struggle, asking themselves the questions of, can I do this? Am I good enough at being a mom? Am I good enough at being a professional? They're asking themselves that. So when you yourself are in those deep, dark moments of despair and guilt and doubt as to whether you can do it all, our hope is that you receive the same feeling that we did while talking to all these women, that if they can do it and find a way through it, then so can you.
Totally.
And I think in that too, I know when I was going through it, which was many years ago, my kids are now 33 and 28. So back then you didn't really talk about it. You didn't want to bring that side of you to work. I remember literally many times before walking in the office, wiping my baby drool off of my shoulder pads of my blazer before walking into the workplace, because you didn't want to be thought of as the mom. You wanted to be thought of as a professional. So I kind of pushed that aside. So a lot of the stuff that I went through alone. So even all these years later, hearing that WWE champion, World Cup champion, Olympic medalists, Hall of Fame broadcasters, that they faced the same challenges that I did, was so empowering and validating. You know, at work, you get a job well done. You get if you're an athlete, you get a win or you get a paycheck, but you don't have that validation immediately like that oftentimes with raising children. And that's a different mindset.
And how they struggle through the guilt like we all do, and how to tune out the noise and judgment. And I feel like athletes more than anyone, they know what it's like to fail, right? Because you have to push through the failures to get to an elite level. And a lot of the learning is in that. And I love Chaina Matthews. She was Jamaica FIFA team.
Yeah.
But she said motherhood doesn't change who you are and what you're capable of. That person and all she is and can do is just as important to your kids as it is to you. I loved that there was this thread of like the kids being woven into the story and respecting the mom's decision to keep at the workforce. And like Alex Morgan, who you brought up, like she created a whole organization now together to benefit her daughters and further the mission of supporting moms in sports. And I just loved it. I also love that you wove in the male broadcasters, some of the counterparts to the females. I thought that was a very intentional, good choice. Do you want to touch on that at all as well? Because our partners, a lot of them do talk about the partnerships they have and how that supports the whole ecosystem.
I will say I work with John Strong, who is one of the voices that we have in there. And he was so happy to be a part of this book. My husband listened to it and he was really kind of looked at things a little differently. A couple of guys that I work with said the same thing. And it is important because we're not in this alone. We are in it with partners, with colleagues. So knowing that they can support us in whatever way while not marginalizing us, we really wanted to illustrate that as well. And the impact. We interviewed some children because we also wanted moms in the thick of it now to see that the kids are okay. And we wanted moms to hear that because our hope is that they'll hear those same words later from their children, but they may be doubting it right now. We also included sons for that reason, because to your point, it really is important.
I love this conversation so much. And I do feel like I'm reflecting on this as you're explaining it and how you're adopting or evolving your teaching. It feels like Common Core, where now they want to see more how your child got to the answer than just delivering the answer. So the way that teachers are going to be teaching in the future has to be about an adapted approach, right?
100%. I think that there's something called agentic tooling. So AI is an agent, right? So when you're asking GPT, you're basically asking an artificial intelligent agent to help you with X, Y, or Z. The next thing that's going to happen is that agents, and it's already happening, agents are managing other agents. And so agentic tooling, essentially, you can have an AI workforce or an AI team.
Yeah.
And how do you manage that? And so it's really about understanding the goals, where you want to go, what you're trying to achieve, and how AI can be an enablement tool to help you get there. And so I think that from a elementary and middle school perspective, what an extraordinary tutor you just got.
Right.
So what is it going to do for parents? Parents have back in the day, I used to run AOL's networks, and I created an award called the Chief Everything Officer. And it was really for women who are like doing it all, that we're working, we're raising our children, we're managing schedules, we're engaging in our community, we're being good friends, sisters, daughters, the whole thing. And so the juggle is part of the joy and part of the struggle, right? Of parenting, especially when they're under your roof and you're managing all the trains in the station.
Yep.
So number one, I think that AI as a tool for mom or a tool for families to actually save time so that you can have more time with your kids. Like, you have to be disciplined.
Brilliant.
That. So how do you outsource to an agent to be able to help you so that you can have more time back? That's number one. So thinking
number one objective for all moms on the line, to free up time. I mean, my kids asked me, they're like, what do you want for your birthday coming up? I was like, I would love the gift of time. and they really
Exactly.
listen to that because it's less about things and more about efficiency and leveraging AI in the right ways so that we aren't scared of it. We aren't fearful of it, but there's such good value for parents to use it. So Tina, tell all our listeners on the line, because I know they are curious how it's going to revolutionize how we operate at home. How are you seeing families use AI to simplify chaos?
So I would say that every day easier for everyone. And so think about the things that you're trying to accomplish as a mom, as a head of household, as the chief everything officer.
Yeah.
Number one is schedules. And so understanding and training an agent, could be GPT, could be others, to say, look, my daughter is 12 years old, and in the spring she plays tennis, and in the fall she plays soccer, and she has, piano on these days, and and these are the schedules of the school, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
In 3 minutes, you're going to have the cadence of your calendar. You're going to have the cadence of the schedule and time management, and say, here are the priorities in my house.
Wow.
In my house, the priorities are, I want to have dinner at this time.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to have their homework done either before or after, whatever your priorities are.
Yep.
I want to create a media budget for them, whatever it is that you want to do. Doing that in partnership with an agent so that they can help you think through that, organize that, et cetera. Another thing that's a game changer that so many of my friends never thought of using, and now they're obsessed,
hooked,
is travel planning. And
wow.
I remember packing to this day is still my nightmare.
Same.
I don't know why, but it's just I hate packing.
Yeah.
But this summer I was doing a trip where we were going in the end of August. We were going to Italy and then Sardinia, a very privileged trip. I know everyone doesn't have those opportunities, but this was a very exciting trip.
Yeah.
And I knew that the weather was going to be quite warm. And I knew that in Rome, it was going to be more formal. And I knew in the other place. So I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do a carry-on. How am I going to think through all this?
Brilliant.
And I literally had GPT tell me what the weather was going to be, understand that the different parameters that I was looking for, what was I trying to accomplish, how could I get it all into a carry-on, and basically do a full layout for me. And then, of course, I chose my own stuff. But it was so helpful to just have that packing list, have the weather, have all of the parameters of what I was trying to accomplish.
Yeah, thinking through all of those logistics in your brain that sometimes feel impossible. I'm stealing that hack for sure.
Yeah. It's a huge hack, a travel planning and packing.